Hello and welcome to another episode of Hair Bear Reads Reddit. And if you found your way to my cozy little corner of the internet and you like a story or two, sit back and relax, have a listen, have a laugh, take your shoes off, and set a spell. Now, before we begin today, I'd like to thank a few nice folks who stumbled across my channel and left some comments. I see you, and your feedback is greatly appreciated. And of course, a standing special thank you to my other Ink Reads, who has unfailingly supported my channel and everything that I do. And if you think I'm worth listening to, you should go check out her channel, because she is amazing. So again, to everyone, in the words of Jacksepticeye, thank you for being here. Well, let's get on with reading some Reddit, shall we? So I thought about branching out again and finding a new one, but honestly, I just keep coming back to good old TraumatizeThemBack. Something about it just tickles my justice bone. The first one snagged my attention just from its name. No filter moment, because we all love those. Posted by No Difference 4528. Let me explain myself a bit. I have a paralyzed right arm from being pulled out of my mom during birth. I got stuck and the doctor panicked, reached in, found my arm and pulled me out by it, damaging my brachial plexus nerve. Nailed that. Yes, they tried to fix it. No, it was not successful. Through some therapy, I can move my arm at the elbow, but no function in the actual hand. It is also much smaller than my left. At the time, I was working at a casino in the employee cafeteria. Every day there was a meat being carved to order. That's a funny way to word it. This day it was New York strip, and I was the carver. Now, because my one arm is paralyzed, carving meat can be challenging, but I make do. I can't hold it in place, and once it gets smaller, it's harder for me to do because it moves around on the board while I'm cutting, and the knives aren't as sharp as they should be. That's dangerous, and there should be a safety standard for that, but I digress. People were coming through the line, and I was greeting them and offering them the meat, as is my job. Oh my. And one guy accepted. I was struggling because it was small, and I told the guy that the smaller it gets, the harder it is for me. This can't be by accident. He said it was fine. The guy next to him, who was wearing a trainee badge, said, "Well, you're cutting it with one hand," and smirked at me. I deadpan looked at him and said, if I had another hand, I'd use it, and raised my paralyzed hand to show that it was deformed. He went about 6 shades of red and quickly left. I might be an asshole here. Usually my customer service filter catches those kinds of comments, but apparently that was broken that day. I have a couple thoughts about this one. The first being about the customer that made the comment. Now, he could have been being snarky, and OP could have read it that way because they might be a little defensive about their condition, which understandably so. They could have been empathizing, pointing out, well, yeah, dude, you're doing this with one hand, no worries, take your time. It all is in how you read the situation. If they were being snarky, then OP's response was spot on. The other thing I was thinking was about the employer. OP mentioned specifically the knives weren't as sharp as they should be, and there need to be standards on that because accidents happen with dull knives. My other thought regarding the employer is when there's someone with a disability doing a job, their employer should provide reasonable assistance for them to be able to do that job well. And when you've got someone with one functional hand trying to cut meat and they can't hold it in place, there should be something holding it there because, when you've got trying to do that with one-handed with a dull knife, that just sounds like a recipe for disaster to me. Down in the comments, Chuck Kitty Bye, sure, I guess that's how it's pronounced, says, "Nah, he was being a snarky know-it-all, like it never occurred to you to use 2 hands would be easier. You just showed him why you couldn't." OP responds, "This happens a lot to me. A drive-thru lady at McDonald's yelled at me to use 2 hands while handing me a cup carrier full of drinks. I told her I didn't have 2 hands, and she apologized and lost her tone. I did manage to get the drinks and pass them off to my husband, but she came at me with such aggression." And in that context, it's very understandable that someone's going to be a little snappish if somebody mentions it, because it's going to be coming at them over and over and over. So even if the commenter in the story was trying to be empathetic, I still can't fault OP for the response. So our next story is posted by I Did Not Fuka Cat. Yes, that is pronounced that way. Fight me. And it's titled, Make a Stupid Comment, Get Reminded About Not Raising Your Children. Ooh, this sounds like an epic clapback. Let's get into it. For some context, I am a straight cis woman. I'm just non-conforming. I have a pixie cut and I don't like to wear makeup. I don't have piercings and I don't like to wear dresses or stuff like that. I have been told that I was gay by a lot of people. I am not. My friends would joke that I was in a glass closet, and I would play flirt with them. I've been called a butch, and even got more confessions from women than men. I've heard a few stories similar to these in the past, and it's interesting to me how people can be inclusive and accepting until you don't fit in a certain box that they have in their mind. And rather than build another one, they will try to force you into that box, wherever that box might be. So whether you have it on one side or the other, it's just as unhealthy and unproductive to me. My biological mother is homophobic, yay, and isn't exactly happy that her only daughter looks and acts the way that I do. However, she doesn't have much say in it because I have lived with my aunt since I was 11 because she has a drug problem. She is clean now, but loves to make offhanded comments about my beliefs and lifestyle, even telling me that it's okay that I voted wrong because her vote would cancel out mine. It was my first time voting. Thanks, Mom. So she just has a stellar example for a human being as a mother. I'm glad she didn't have to deal with her past 11, in her formative years anyways. This happened in my high school senior year. I was joking with my friends, and one bet me $10 that I wouldn't wear a suit to the prom. I was 17 and wanted some rock star, so I agreed. And these days, $10 might get you a can or two. I told my aunt, and she didn't care. I went to the school for the suit because my family is pretty poor. I found a really cool light blue one, and I looked awesome. I took prom photos, and my aunt posted them on Facebook. Next thing I know, my mom is texting me, asking about what I was wearing. I'm going to try and remember them because they are gone now. Mommy. I can only assume that OP is being a little facetious calling her Mommy. Anyways, Mommy, what are you wearing? Me. Looks like a suit. Mommy, is that what you're wearing to prom? Me. Yup. Mommy, why not a dress? Me. I didn't want to wear a dress. I wanted a suit. Mommy, girls wear dresses, boys wear suits. Me. There's a problem with your logic because I am a girl and I'm obviously wearing a suit. Mommy, sorry I didn't raise you right. Me, you didn't raise me, Mom. You let your sister do that for you. Was it a little rude? Yes. I told my aunt and she shook her head, saying I should have ignored her. I know it wasn't exactly my mom's fault, and she made the best decision she could have made by giving my little brother and I to my aunt. She had a hard life, and my biological father wasn't a good man to her, but I'm getting tired of her thinly veiled homophobia. Sorry for grammar mistakes. I'm doing this on a phone. Edit. All of you are very kind. I loved reading all of your own stories of suits to prom and the like. Also, your responses are very funny. I have read all of them. Thank you for the kind words. For all women and men, be strong, be beautiful, and kick ass. Don't fit into a mold. Make your own. Hell yes, this is the way. I would say, of the entire story, OP's mom made one correct choice, and that was to let her sister raise her children, because apparently they did a badass job. That being said, while it doesn't do to dwell on the past, you can't live that kind of life, abandon your responsibilities because you have a problem, and after you deal with that problem, act like it never happened. You're going to have a long way to go to prove yourself after making that long a series of bad choices, shall we say. So you can't step into someone's life when they're practically an adult and start making lifestyle structures for them when you've clearly not made good ones for yourself. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Anyways, comments! I like this version of the mess around and find out saying from manufacturer East, who said, if she didn't want the apple, she shouldn't have shaken the tree. And OP responded saying, one saying that my aunt says that I love is, don't argue with a donkey. It's from a story about a donkey and a tiger arguing. It means don't argue with someone who's too dense and stupid to change their minds. It makes you look stupid as well. I never took that advice. I just like to argue with stupid people. It's funny. And Human Male comes up with one that I actually say fairly often. I've always liked, never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. And even more succinctly, SCT Win Mom says, don't wrestle with a pig. You'll get dirty, and the pig likes it. So our next story is posted by Sale Historical, titled, My Kind Deed Backfired in the Funniest Way. Sadly, kind deeds have a way of backfiring, but I hope everyone turns out all right in this one. So I, 27 female, am rather tall. I often help people in grocery stores that need things on high shelves. I just call it the tall tax. It's better to be kind to the short folks so they don't bust your shins. Well, one day after a rough day at work, I'm at the grocery store to get a few items. I used a basket because I didn't need much. I had just gotten some ice cream and was heading to the cashier when I came across a mother and a teenage daughter. The mother was shorter than shoulder height on me, and the daughter was in a full-time wheelchair, no leg mobility. The daughter is pointing to a pint of ice cream she wanted on the top shelf of the freezer, with only a few left pushed all the way to the back. I stop as I'm walking by and kindly say, "Do you need some help? I have a bit more reach." The mother and daughter gladly accept my help, the mother saying she was thinking she'd have to get an employee to help. I put my basket down and easily reach up to get the pint, then pull the last few pints forward for the next person. They thank me and I return to my basket and go to pick it up, when I hear the daughter, "Thanks! We all know I wouldn't have been able to get that," and pats her wheelchair with a huge grin on her face. It takes me out. Instead of stooping down to pick up my basket, I am almost on my knees laughing. She's laughing too, and her mother stutters out, "You can't just say that to a stranger," to her daughter. But the two of us are just dying with laughter for a minute or two, until we part ways. I can only imagine how hard that comeback would have hit someone who was rude to them instead of cordial like I was. I know this isn't very traumatizing in the traditional sense, but it taught me to never underestimate the power of a person in a wheelchair to still land quite a blow. I did not expect that one to turn out so wholesome as it did, which is nice because I was actually saving the next one for last, because as I was skimming over it, copying it over, I kind of picked up enough of it to see that it seemed to end on a rather wholesome note as well. So we've got two nice ones, just full of nice people doing nice things, and it's wonderful. Anyways, comments. Apparently we have somebody in the comments that was a snarky teen as well. Plenty Protection 72 says, "OMG, when I was a kid, my mom's in a manual wheelchair. She started going backwards in a shop, and I just shouted, 'Beep, beep, wide load reversing.' I'm 19 and have never lived that down, LOL. FYI, she is a healthy weight. No idea why I came out with wide load. We all know why you did. Come on now." GMRZW4 says, "I did that to my very pregnant aunt who was backing up into a chair to sit down during her baby shower. She was pretty small aside from the belly, so she wasn't sensitive, so it went over well. But I hadn't considered how it would backfire if she didn't find it funny. I was about 15 at the time, so that may have helped." Yeah, we don't think about things like that much when we're 15, do we? And I absolutely love this one from Quilting Cats, who's sticking it to the tall people, who says, "You do know it works the opposite way too, right? I put hubby's stuff on lower shelves where he's not likely to see it. I do this to my family when they get annoying. Hubby is 6'1", and both children are 6'4". I used to be a foot shorter than the children, but I've lost an inch so far. Say, 'Isn't she cute?' one more time and have fun crouching down to find your granola bars." Well done. And finally, our last story, posted by Menace Mama, who says war injuries can't be funny. This happened 20 years ago. My 48 female, husband 48 male, I will refer to him as hubby, had just been released from several months of inpatient care after sustaining extensive injuries during his second tour in Iraq. I will not list them all, as only one is important to the story: the near total loss of his nose. It was 2005, and the U.S. military was dealing with a massive amount of injured soldiers, sailors, and Marines, many of them surviving injuries that would have certainly been fatal during any other conflict, many of them burns. We were at the burn center at BAMC in San Antonio, and they were documenting certain injuries. We were asked if hubby's nose amputation could be documented for a medical journal. We agreed. After answering all the questions the captain assigned to his case had, hubby was asked to stand for some photos. The captain begins taking photos of the area of hubby's face that used to sport a nose. He's quite close up in hubby's face. He somehow seemed more uncomfortable than either of us. "I want you to know we value your privacy. Your name will not appear anywhere in the paper. No identifying features will be in the photos. We can even put a black bar across your eyes to help maintain your privacy," the captain tells hubby as he's hovering 2 inches from his face with a huge SLR camera. Now, my husband is generally a quiet, reserved man, very respectful of rank and situational appropriateness. He is not generally quick with comebacks and public wit, and was also healing from a serious TBI at the time. So, let me tell you, I was just as stunned as the captain when this man immediately responded with, no worries. Either way, it's no skin off my nose." I cackled like a demented goose. The captain struggled so hard not to laugh as his face turned 6 shades of red, and he quickly finished taking a few more pics. That kind of humor, particularly in the face of, pun totally intended, such adversity, is exactly what this world needs. Good on you. Shadowfuzz 4v9 says, "The response is perfect, and I hope your hubby is doing better now." An OP responds, "Yes, he is good. Despite some limitations, it all could have been far, far worse, and we are grateful for the life we have together. I love these people." But not to be outpunned, 401 user NectFound says, "That response was on the nose." And on that note, we'll end it for today. But do you have any stories like these of your own? Do you have any moments in your past where you came up with a perfect clapback to put someone in their place? If you do, let me know in the comments and I'll read it out. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to slap a paw on the like and subscribe buttons. And hopefully, we'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, be good, and bear up.